Alright. Let's hope that the next task Minfilia has for us does not take an hour. Because I want to go play soccer. Oh, it might. Lord of the Inferno. Word has arrived from Thancred concerning our ongoing investigation. It appears he was able to extract some information from our friend Ungust, the false priest. He revealed that he is due to meet with the Amalj'aa to discuss their dealings. The Immortal Flames believe that the meeting will present an ideal opportunity to ambush and capture the Amalj'aa responsible for the abductions, and so they mean to have Ungust attend as planned. As the Amalj'aa are anticipated to offer fierce resistance, the Immortal Flames have requested our support. I would have you provide it to them, Mercy. Thancred is presently attending to another matter, but will join you as soon as he is able. Until such time as he does, you will be the Scion's sole representative on the ground. Before he left, he bade me tell you to save some for him, quote-unquote. Such is his confidence in you, a confidence I share. When you have made ready, pray take yourself to Camp Drybone and report to the Flame Sergeant leading the mission. May you walk in the light of the crystal. Drybone... Ooh, 320. Gross. Let's see if it's any less. Sometimes when you're like in an instanced zone, which is Minfilia's office is technically an instanced zone. Actually, the entirety of Waking Sands is an instanced zone. But anytime you're in Minfilia's office, no, I guess you can run up to her, so it's not always an FMB. But anyway, it was 320 before. It is 320 now. Okay, so. Worth it. I don't want to run. I believe an option would be to spend 120, free teleport back to, my free spot in Limsa Minsa, 120 gil to fly over to Thanalan, and then probably a Chocobo ride of 50, but whatever. Your Mercy Valkyr of the Scions. My thanks for coming, friend. We're stronger for your assistance. Allow me to brief you on our mission. Our objective is to capture Amalj'aa and prize from them the whereabouts of the abductees. The Lizardmen aren't aware that their man, Ungust, has been exposed. When they come to the rendezvous point to meet the traitor, we'll spring the trap. Owing to the clandestine nature of the mission, we can deploy only a small contingent. Every member must count, and so we requested the aid of the Scions. The rendezvous will take place at the Invisible City. Please make your way there and lie in wait. We stand to learn much and more of the Amalj'aa plot if the mission succeeds, Mercy. Please, let's make sure it does. I'm just gonna run, I suppose. Run. I could take a Chocobo up to there, but I don't think it would really solve much of my overall travel problem, And by there, I mean the Golden Bazaar from Camp Drybone. I'm still waiting for my car to be done. Took it in at 7:45 this morning. It is now 2. They said it would be done by lunch, probably. And all it is squeaky brakes and an oil change. And maybe a tire rotation. I've looked at a video online of, why, God, I'm not, I wonder if this can be adjusted. Maybe it's too high now. No, it looks like it's, whatever. I am not, I'll say it before, I've said it before and I'll say it again. I am not lopsided. Not in this way, at least. So the Invisible City is just like some ruins, basically. I am also 4 levels over the level for this, so I'll be synced down to 24. Hopefully I'll still have my finisher, but I don't know for sure. So cutscene fade to black. We see Ungust with his pompadour and red clothing walking into the meeting place. You're hiding with the Flame Sergeant, who is a buff man with a thin mustache that goes down past the corners of his lips, like maybe half an inch to an inch, and then he's got a goatee, just a little or soul patch, I think, just on the chin. Is the bait in place? Baitin'. Our man is in position, sir. Good. We make our move as soon as the Amalj'aa appear. Yes, sir. Ungust is looking around. He looks up as one of the Amalj'aa walks forward. I've described them before. Broad, barrel-chested, claws, thick arms, thick shoulders, kind of a thin waist, oddly enough. But, and then the legs don't really match. The legs got thick thighs. As the Amalj'aa approach, the Flame Sergeant signals the charge, and your allies basically charge in, and the Amalj'aa warrior says, "What is the meaning of this?" And then one of the privates says, "Wait, something's amiss." And more Amalj'aa run in, archers and casters behind you. It seems to be a trap. And Ungust laughs. Traitorous flame soldier. So apparently some of the flame soldiers were also bad. I'm afraid your little ambush ends here, says the traitor. Ungust. I eluded the immortal flame's clutches for moons before finally being caught. Did you not wonder how I managed it? 'Twas almost as if someone was feeding him information from the inside. Ungust. Aye, your every movement was known to me ahead of time. Now, as much as I'd love to chat a while, I have appointments to keep. The traitor says, they're all yours. Ungust walks off. The traitor stays, theoretically, to fight with the Amalj'aa against you. Luckily, I'm a badass. Let's take out some of these riffraff. And no, I do not have access to my closer, sadly. So I've taken out 4 rangers and like 3 bruisers, which are just hand-to-hand combatants. The rangers they use ranged weapons. He has now summoned more rangers, so we'll take those out really easily. He's also summoned a couple halberdiers, which are spearmen. The rangers go down in 2 hits. The halberdiers go down a little slower. He summoned 5 more. Some rangers and some bruisers. And cutscene fade to black as the main Amalj'aa drops down to about 50%. It just looks like you're overwhelmed with Amalj'aa and the battle cannot be won. The traitor says, put up your weapon or your comrade's a dead man. Behind you, says the private. And you are struck with sleep spell, it seems. And you fade, you kind of fall to the ground, falling asleep. Ungust says, "Bring her." "The rest of you, march," says the traitor. "Traitorous scum," says the flame sergeant. And you find yourself awakening in a cave that has a small pool in it, like a pond, not like a man-made pool. But flame sergeant and some privates are, and all the villagers that have gone missing, and some robed men as well. They're all sitting here bound, hands tied behind their backs. "I fear the Amalj'aa mean to give us to their god as an offering. If I must die, then let me die a soldier's death, with steel in hand." And this gives you access to the Bowl of Embers, which is where we fight Ifrit, or Ifrit, however you want to pronounce it. We jump over to Trials, which is the first time we've been in that queuing section. I'm actually gonna, I think you can queue, yep, you can queue in the build a party, basically, and it's a really easy dungeon, so I'm just gonna do that. Trial, not dungeon, whatever. After this, I'm gonna call the mechanic, because... So you see basically an eclipse. So the sun has been eclipsed. You see just a really dark circle, and then the outline of the sun kind of around the circle. A zealot of the Amalj'aa says, "Lord of the Inferno, hearken to our plea. Lord of the Inferno, deliver us from our misery." You're standing there with the flame private and the flame general, surrounded by Amalj'aa with staves. "O mighty Ifrit, Lord of the Inferno, your humble servants beseech you, grace us with your divine presence." From the eclipse, there's a point of light in the middle, and that light expands and then becomes like this fiery thing, and from it emerges Ifrit, kind of bathed in fire. He kind of gets launched into the air and then straight down to the ground. And he... how to describe him in this game? "O mighty Ifrit, we bring before you ignorant savages who know not your godhead. If it please you, Lord, scorch their heathen souls with your cleansing flame and mark them as your own." "But bloody hells," says the flame sergeant. "Bring those two as well," says the warrior. Ungust is tied up, as is the traitor. What's going on? They say what we agreed." "None but servants of Lord Ifrit may behold the rite of summoning. The souls of unbelievers are forfeit." "No, spare me, I beg you," says Ungust. So Ifrit, buff boy. How best to describe him? Kind of humanoid in stature, but he kind of bends forward, so his legs are not straight up like we walk up and down. They are bent at the knee, probably a 45-degree angle. His body structure seems to be made of like bands of coal or bands of some black substance, like that. His thighs just look like you can see bands of muscle, and that's all they are. Same with the pelvis, torso. His face looks like the face of a dragon. He's got like a really if you would picture a long goatee, but it's just like made of stone. Jagged teeth in his mouth, like only about six fangs on top and 8 on the bottom. Devil horns that come out forward from his face, curve down and then curve back up to a point at the tips, and the tips look like they're molten hot. Really thick claws in his feet. The same that was said for the thighs, like the bands of some kind of metal or black substance, whatever, are on his biceps. He's also got some red coloring around the shoulder area and the back of the neck area. He says, "Pitiful children of man, by my breath I claim you. Arise once more as my loyal minions. Feed my flames with your faith, and all who stand against us shall burn." And He kind of rears up. He's very, very tall, by the way, when he stands at his full height, and like bathes you in blue flame and your comrades and the traders. The flame sergeant, who was on your side a second ago. Oh, mighty Ifrit, my one true god. He looks like he is enthralled, reaching to his god. Your words are my bread. You seem to be unaffected. Impossible! By what sorcery do you resist my master's will? Says Temugzo, an Amalj'aa caster, chieftain, whatever. The Amalj'aa around you are kind of unsure what to do now. Could it be? Your soul already belongs to another? Yes, that is the only explanation. They kind of back away from you, but Ifrit is unstirred. Forsooth, thy frail mortal frame can serve as vessel to the blessing of but one. Yet I smell not the taint of another upon thee. The truth of thine allegiance waxeth clear. Thou art of the godless blessed's number. The paragons warned of thy night. Oh, what the heck? I couldn't even read it? Seriously? I'm not even in it. I made up my own party. Let me read it. Jerks. So this fight is pretty straightforward. You just damage Ifrit. You avoid. Let's see. Let's wait till he does an attack. He does this like hit everyone in the room knockback attack. Does very little damage. He attacks the tank. If you stand in front of him with the tank, you'll probably be hit by a cone of fire every once in a while, so don't. You just generally don't want to stand in front of bosses unless you're the tank anyway. He's just used it again, so in theory you would be hit by that if you were in front. He does cause patches of the ground, big circular patches of the ground to appear red for a bit before they explode in fire. So you want to avoid those. And the main mechanic should happen probably around 50%, but we'll see because I don't remember. The patches of fire, I believe, spawn around DPS and not around the tank ever. I don't know for sure. So far, they've only spawned under the Thaumaturge or the Conjurer. So we're so he summons a nail in the middle of the room. It's called the Infernal Nail. And your job is to switch to it and DPS it. And if you're the tank, you can do this too. It's not really that big of a deal, but you might want to think about trying to turn Ifrit once you get to the nail so that you won't hit your party with AoEs. If you do not defeat the nail in time, Ifrit will jump into the air, come back down, and I believe one-shot the entire party with like his Inferno that hits the entire room. He will do that move anyway, but since we killed the nail in time, it only does roughly 40% of everybody's hit points. Oh shit. And then he also has, which I just got hit by, he has another move after the nail comes down, after it's been defeated, where the middle of the room will fill with 3 giant like lava circles that will explode after a few seconds. If you're not aware they're on their way coming down, probably pretty hard to avoid them. I certainly did not avoid them. No, I avoided them this time. They can probably be avoided if you know that they're going to be coming soon. Oh yeah, sorry. After he does the middle 3 that are big, he'll do the entire outer ring of like 6, maybe 6 big circles. So you basically dance to the outside, then you dance back to the inside. When he's down, he just kind of disappears. In his place is a red crystal, similar to the other crystals you picked up so far. You approach it When you do, it floats up to you, and when you outreach your hands to it, the screen goes white, and we have another cutscene. You're once again floating in darkness with only the red crystal in its light. Underneath you are those two concentric circles that look like basically summoning circles. You've already got a blue crystal in one corner. The red crystal shows itself in the other corner. In another corner. There are 6 total, I believe. So we're waiting for 4 more crystals, apparently. And that was it. We didn't see Heidelin this time, apparently. Thancred. Pray forgive my lateness, says Thancred, running with some more immortal flame soldiers. I was delayed by a congregation of Amalj'aa zealots. I swear, each seemed more evangelical than the last. And Amalj'aa rushes you, and Thancred jumps into the air, doing a flip, throws 3 kunai, or daggers, into the Amal's chest as he flips over him. And then said something that I was only up on the screen for long. I hate it when he did that. I see the Bloodsworn wasted no time extracting the captives, no less than I'd expect from the Flame General's hand-picked men. Those that were hit by the blue flame of Ifrit are still kind of standing there, looking just mind-controlled, basically. As for those two, it is fair to say their hardships have only just begun. They have much to answer for. I feel I owe you an apology, Mercy. Had I known this mission would prove so dangerous, I would never have left you to face it alone. You have been given a veritable baptism of fire. You shake your head, no? Like, don't worry about it. But let us continue this conversation in more agreeable surrounds. Camp Drybone, shall we? Shall we say? This way, sir, says a flame soldier. And you and Thancred run after him, as do more flame soldiers. And then you see the camera pans to a tall, rocky cliff where Nero, the red armored man that you saw in that like flashback over to the Praetorium, with all the bad guys, basically. he's kind of crouching down. So that was the mighty Ifrit. He seems disappointed, spits to the side. And what a disappointment he was. The readings are nowhere near what I had anticipated, even taking Ul'dah interference into account. And then someone whose name you don't know, you should know better than to rely upon 5-year-old data left by the 7th Legion. It's a female body. Nor can we expect any form of support from the motherland, given the troubles at court. We have only ourselves to rely upon. Ever the pessimist, my dear Livia. Promise me you'll never change. We've wasted enough time here. That meter of yours is too old to give any reading worth a damn. Not that there was aught worth a damn for it to read, but I take your point. I suppose we must content ourselves with the knowledge that we've achieved our primary objective. Yet I find that I am troubled by that adventurer's unexpected show of strength. Could such a foe prove a hindrance to our plans? Perhaps, but that is a consideration for another time. You have been given a task. That is your priority. I suggest you treat it as such. Fail to do as my lord commands, and I will spare him the trouble of punishing you. She walks off down the hill. With allies like that, beware a woman in love. I shall need to be on my best behavior. He walks after her. And you find yourself having defeated, won the battle. You have to exit the battleground. I believe we're going back. Oh, we just automatically encamped Drybone. It's very nice. Thank you very much. Talk to Thancred. He is looking over all the survivors that were brought back. Oh, there you are, Mercy. Come, rest a while. You will have no better opportunity. After witnessing their god's ignominious defeat, The Amalj'aa will be less inclined to risk our wrath, for a time at least. Now, where were we? Ah yes, I was in the process of apologizing. I do hope you can forgive me. I arrived too late to be of any use, to you or the abductees. They may be whole of body, but the same cannot be said of their minds. For once a man is tempered... but it ill suits me to dwell on the negatives. Amidst all our misfortunes, there is still reason to rejoice. Ifrit is slain, and by your hand, no less. That is the deed of no ordinary individual, Mercy. Not that I ever thought you were ordinary. On the contrary, I have long suspected that you have the potential to shape the fate of this realm. What can I say? My fine eye for talent remains undimmed. Minfilia will be proud beyond all reckoning when she hears of your deeds. I trust you shan't object to my bearing the tidings to her. That way I can claim to have contributed something to this mission. You, meanwhile, have earned yourself a rest. Take some time to relax and return to the Waking Sands when you are good and ready. We can discuss matters in more detail then. Just don't take too long, will you? The realm's problems won't solve themselves. Okay. So we'll use one of our teleport papers. Oh, wait. Damn it. While I was there, it was prime time to go check out Amalj'aa. It was not far from where I was. I believe I will have to... Yeah, I'll definitely have to go back to Camp Drybone. So I'm going to save the Amalj'aa thing until then, because I do try to not spend to kill if I don't have to. And I know for a fact we're going back there for at least one reason. So we've teleported back to Vesper Bay. We've walked into the Waking Sands, and there's a sign of the 7th dawn outside Minfilia's door. Ah, the triumphant hero returns. Thancred told us the news upon his arrival. He is presently in the Solar, giving a full report to Lady Minfilia. You should join them at once. Lady Minfilia is most eager to see you. Thus completes the Lord of the Inferno quest. We get a ring that is a bit of an upgrade. Gives you like one more strength and one more some other things. But then there's a cutscene. We faded to black already and cutscene started. My late arrival nearly cost Mercy her life. I wasn't there when the Amalj'aa took her prisoner. And I wasn't there when they served her to Ifrit. He looks down. Yes, by some miracle she survived, but that does not excuse the fact that she should never have had to face such dangers alone. I failed her utterly. Just as I'm failing you all. What's done is done, Thancred. You can ill blame yourself for every... You walk in the door at that moment. They both turn to you. Mercy, it is so good to see you again. Impeccable timing, my friend. I had just finished regaling Minfilia with your heroic exploits. Thancred has told me everything. You have done well to return to us. The perils you faced were undeniably great, yet a part of me believes that I had no cause to fear. And now we can put paid to our long investigation. As we suspected, the Amalj'aa undertook both the robbery and the abductions with the aim of summoning their primal Ifrit. Nor is the tale limited to Volda. Similar incidents have been rife in both Limsa and Gridania of late. I dare say you've been curious as to how these crimes are linked to the primals. Permit me to explain. Having manifested in the physical realm, primals must consume aether if they are to maintain their presence here, and the stronger they become, the more aether they require. Now, aether exists throughout creation. It flows through all life and permeates the very air that we breathe. Alas, this alone will not suffice to sustain the likes of Ifrit. Nay, he and his kind require a more concentrated source of aether, crystals. It is for this reason that incidents involving crystals can often be tracked back to a primal. Which leaves us with the why of the abductions. To understand this, you must first understand how primals are born. When all is well with the world, primals possess no physical form. Their essence is dispersed across the great river of aether. However, when the world is plunged into chaos, those who worship the primals cry out to their gods for deliverance from suffering. These cries serve as a beacon toward which a primal's essence is irresistibly drawn. It is this coming together, or etheric coalescence, which grants the being's physical form. Once born, a primal gains strength through its followers' worship. The more numerous and fervent they are, the more powerful their god becomes. But the primals are seldom satisfied with such reverence as their adherents freely give, and in order to gain more power, they do not scruple to create followers. They do this by tempering mortals, a process to which you yourself were subjected. Yet even as Ifrit took your comrades in his thrall, you alone remained unaffected. This is thanks to the power you possess. The echo. Sorry, it's Menphilia. The echo. We know not the why of it, but those blessed with the echo are immune to primal influence. It is as though a great power protects us. When first you came to us, I told you that the echo would be instrumental in dealing with the primal threat. I trust you now begin to see why. The recent incidents all share a common trait: meticulous planning. Such elaborate designs are a new development, and one which fills me with an unshakable sense of foreboding. While I share your concern, my presiding feeling is one of relief at your safe return. The immortal flames assured me that they will deal with the aftermath, so you need not concern yourself with that. We may rest easy for a time. I suggest you take full advantage of the respite, Mercy. You may be sure it won't last long. Once the people learn the identity of the hero who felled Ifrit, I fear you have nary a moment to yourself. Menphilia walks to the chair, like behind the chair in her desk. Thancred kind of walks a little bit closer to you. Whether she intended to or no, Menphilia neglected to tell you something I think it would be best you heard from one of us. It concerns the tempered abductees that were rescued. I am sorry to report that all are to be put to death, the flames with whom you were imprisoned included. Needless to say, this information must not be made known to the public. I swear to you that we would not do this if there were any other recourse, but once a man is tempered, he is tempered for life. His very existence lends strength to the primal whom he cannot choose but to worship. And so we Scions continue our fight, that no more innocents need be sacrificed. I hope that you will continue to stand with us, Mercy. But I should be going. I must offer my apologies to the Flame General for the losses his people suffered. Till next time. He gives you a salute. Gods forgive me. How many more lives? Louisoix would never have allowed this to happen. I have to do better. I have to be stronger. He's putting a lot of pressure on himself. One man for the entirety of Amalj'aa. And that is the end of that quest. This video is long, so I shall end it here.